All right, guys, how's it going? It's Bass Now Radio presented by Sunrise Bassin. I got a special guest this week because old Lewis is down at Toledo Bend getting his shit rocked by weather. And so I got on an old friend, one of my original fishing partners. If you want to introduce yourself.
I am Sam Glenn. I graduated quite some time ago.
Quite some time ago. Long time ago. No, it wasn't that long. It was like, what?
2017. So
3 years ago now?
Going on 3 years, yep. It seems like it's been forever.
Oh, you're right. I have been here longer than I thought. Then.
I was going to say.
I came here in 2016, so I've been here for 4 years. This should be my fourth year here.
2016? That's right.
Fall of 2016. Yeah.
You fished the first Norman tournament with
me. Yeah. So we're gonna talk some old stories. I got my original bass fishing story because I got the man that I was with for that, and he can tell you how bad I was. It was bad.
I mean,
it was bad. I ain't afraid to say it. And then later on in the show, we're gonna have Lewis call in. He's gonna let us know how Toledo's going. Of course, by the time this airs, Toledo will be on their third day, I believe. Say Wednesday, Thursday. No, it'll be second day. So.
That's right. They start on Thursdays now.
They start on Thursday. So, well, it's all over the place because St. Lawrence started on like a Wednesday for us, and it was weird.
That's crazy. Yeah, that is weird.
So, and that's how the show is gonna work for this week. And next week, as always, we're gonna do a little Toledo Bend recap. We're gonna hear it from a guy that was down there, and I think we're potentially gonna have someone else call in that's down there too. So it'll be an interesting show. Let's get this one underway, and let's talk about some stories. I've been dying to tell this story.
Have you?
I've been dying. That's why I was so excited to have you on.
I want to know what's so exciting about the story, or what's so
because a lot of people. I was good at faking it. I was a great faker.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
because I joined the bass team freshman year. Mm-hmm. I bass fished maybe once or twice. Like a year in Rhode Island. It's not something that people do up north.
No.
In my area. And Rhode Island is so ocean fishing.
Yeah.
That's all we do.
I was going to say, maybe not largemouth bass, but I know you striper fished.
Oh, yeah, striper, yeah. Yeah, but that's saltwater. That's completely different. Completely different game. Big boats.
Yeah. Well, especially up there.
All different techniques, striped bass fishing. You can catch them like 3 ways.
What, top water, big jig?
You're either throwing top water when they're busting. You're throwing either chunks, so you're using bait, eels, stuff like that, or you're trolling.
Oh, trolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and the top water, like I said, there's that whole the fall run with them busting. You can catch them a whole variety of ways, but they got to be busting essentially.
Yeah.
Like you can fan cast. I got friends that do that all the time. But you stand there and you make like 3 million casts before you get one to blow up.
That sounds about right.
And that's striper fishing. And then I did bottom fishing. I was big on fluke and black sea bass. And
I've been watching a lot of those videos lately. Fluke fishing, what we call flounder, of course.
Yeah, flounder down here.
And that looks like a lot of fun. I mean, those guys catch some monsters up there.
Yeah. I caught one that was close to 9 pounds over the summer. It was my PB.
Jeez,
it's huge.
Holy crap.
Want some money with it. That's how I tournament fished. I never did 5 fish limit or anything like that. It was always you catch one, and the tournament lasts from anywhere from like a weekend.
Yep.
You catch one a weekend, or I did ones that lasted the whole summer.
Holy moly!
Like the tournament would start in June.
Yeah.
And you weighed in 1 fish, and that was your fish. It started June, ended in like August.
See, I've known about saltwater tournaments for quite some time now, and they do a surf fishing tournament down at the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
I want to say October, November when the redfish are running real good down there.
Yeah.
And I think they last either a weekend or a week. But I knew a guy, he won 3 spots with it this year.
Yeah.
There's some money in it.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of money in it.
But you got to spend a lot of money for it, too.
Absolutely.
But that's fishing, so.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fishing all around. I will say that I definitely think sport fishing, like not what we do up north. Well, we do a little bit up north, but what they do in Florida.
Oh, my goodness.
Having like quad engine boats and it's like $3,000-$4,000 entry fee.
Oh, yeah. That's an absolute dream. I got a buddy who's going down to Florida for a kingfish tournament. The weekend of the Bassmaster Classic, so You got some money involved in that.
Oh yeah, there's lots of money. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I grew up doing. I grew up saltwater fishing. I didn't do much bass fishing. In terms of bass fishing, I knew how to wacky rig.
Doesn't everybody?
And I used to throw. I was actually just telling Lewis this. So there were 2 ponds by me when I was in high school, and when I was waiting to be picked up before I had a driver's license, I would go fish the ponds. That's when I bass fished. And literally like 30 minutes at the end of the day.
Heck yeah.
And one place I wacky rigged, and the other place was filled with pads. And so you drag a weightless tube or weightless lizard through the pads. Like I didn't even know how to frog, nothing like that.
Yeah. Don't you wish you did know how to do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so yeah, I came here, I joined the team, and I was like, I could figure this out, you know. I had 1 freshwater spinning rod.
So here's a real question.
Yeah.
How did you know about the team prior to coming here?
Through Wreckfest.
Wreckfest. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Wreckfest is actually helpful. Most people are like, yeah, I was like, you remember we used to show up and be like 95 degrees. It's like, why are we doing this?
Especially when they had it at the rec fields.
Oh, yeah, it's still
turf.
at the rec fields.
Oh, is it? Yeah. No.
Still at the rec field. Yeah, last year we did all the setup for it, and it was like 98 degrees or something.
I'm not sure what the idea behind that is, but if you want to be a bass fisherman, that's a good place to get used to it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah, I signed up to Wreckfest. I thought it was cool. I was like, all right, I love fishing. That's all I used to do was fish. I just didn't do bass fishing.
Yeah, well, hey.
I fly fished and I saltwater fished.
You picked a good place to start.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Sure.
And so yeah, I had fished. I don't even know if you remember this. You guys fished Wiley. It was the second tournament of that year.
I do remember that because I was on my way down to Wiley from Greensboro, which is like a 3-hour drive. No, like a 2-hour drive. And I got a flat tire in a boat trailer on the way down.
Did you?
No, it wasn't in the boat trailer. It was in my car. It was back left. And I texted Chris Cordova, who was supposed to be fishing with me that morning. I said, hey, I ain't going to make it. And I had to pull over at a sketchy gas station in Salisbury. I think it was like 4:30 in the morning. And I got out. I've never changed a tire so fast in my life. It was off and on, and I turned right back around and head back up to Greensboro. And I said, I ain't going to be able to make it, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't want to risk that another hour and a half without a spare tire.
Yeah.
So.
I fished that tournament from the shore.
Was that one of the first ones you did from it? Was that was the first?
Yeah, I fished it from the shore. I was like, I'm gonna try. I asked Xander Monk was our president at the time. I'm like, is there any rule against me fishing it from the shore if I put like an aerator in a cooler and a stick to fish in? Nope. And I went up there by the power plant, and instead of catching bass, I ended up catching, I don't know, 20 hybrids.
Hey, at least you got something. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Didn't catch any bass. I did like it though, because I think at the time there was like 1 or 2 guys that at that point that I had on Snapchat, and it was like cold that day. It was like October day. It was unusually cold for down here. And at that point I was sitting eating breakfast like at a diner, and I was like, you guys are freezing your butt off out there. I'm eating breakfast.
And, I remember pulling up to the ramp one time I don't remember which tournament it was, but I saw this guy in this red pickup truck pulled up to the boat ramp with his hood up. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And I get up there, and it's you. And you're putting a battery back in your car because you're using your battery to do the aerator.
Yeah, I was using the battery as the for the aerator.
That's a diehard right there. Diehard as it gets. Without a boat. Mm-hmm.
And then next term I ended up with you.
Yep.
First time I'd been on a bass boat ever. Never been on a bass boat before.
I would have never have guessed.
I thought it was fun as shit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I grew up racing, so it was like, this thing's going fast across the water. I'd never been on a boat that did more than like 15 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour on the ocean.
We did a little bit more than that, but not much. I mean, we were way down that morning.
And I think I had like 3 rods.
Yeah.
I had 2 spinning rods and 1 bait caster, and I never picked up the bait caster because every time I did, I bird's nested it.
You did pick up the bait caster later in the
day. Did I?
And I'll get into that if you want. Yeah, I remember you showed up with 3 rods, and I was like, dude, this is like the best co-angler. Because, you know, co-anglers nowadays, they show up with 8, 9, 10 rods, which I do the same thing. You know, I can't call anybody out on that one because I do the same thing. But when I saw you with 3 rods, I was like, you know, maybe he's up to something. Maybe he's got a lot of confidence in something, and I like that. And I don't think you have much tackle either.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, because I was always worried about. I have both the compartments in the back of my boat stuffed full of crap.
Oh yeah, I got the same thing now.
I was like, well, I don't have any room for your stuff, man.
Yeah.
But you didn't have much. I think you might have had.
I think I had I had a backpack with me. I think.
Yeah.
And I think I had like 2 or 3 of the clear containers with me.
Yeah.
I think at that point, I was at that point trying to figure out hard baits because I'd never fished hard baits before in my life. So I had a Livingston square bill tied on for the entire day. I'm sure you remember that.
What I was thinking because you said you didn't use a bait cast, but you were throwing that Livingston on that bait cast. I remember that. Yep. Because we pulled up. I
thought I was throwing it on the spinner.
No. Well, you might have started, but I know you had it at some point throwing it on that. Because I remember we pulled up to the first spot, and I was throwing a buzzbait because it was fall. And I was throwing a buzzbait, and I hooked one small one, and then you started just wearing them out at the back of the boat with a red crankbait.
Yeah, but they're all like tiny.
Yeah, they're all small. But I was like, dang.
You remember the big hybrid I caught, like third cast in? You took a picture. I still got a picture. It was dark.
Do you? I don't remember that.
And the flash went off, and the only thing you can see is like the Bass Pro Shops on my life preserver.
Yep.
And the bass,
I remember
the hybrid.
I now remember that. Yeah. Yeah, because you were fishing. I think you were fishing out the backside of the boat.
Yeah. Yep. At that point, I was like, I don't really know this guy. I don't even know how I ended up as your partner.
I was just trying to remember that.
I think he just like posted like, "Hey, I'm looking for a partner." I was like,
first one to text me gets it.
Yeah. At that point, I had my Facebook notification set to like give me like 8 alarms if someone posted.
Pronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I posted it, and like 10 minutes later, you texted me.
Yeah. That's a key tip for freshmen on the team right now that are listening. If you need a boat partner and you're looking to get on a boat, set your notifications to on Facebook so you know what people post.
And if you want to fish, period, as a co-angler, text as fast as you can.
Oh yeah.
Because those spots, they come and go quick.
Yeah, they're gone before you know it. And yeah, we did okay in that term. We had big fish. I know that. Or you had big fish. You caught it on a whopper plopper. And this all comes back around to you taught me how to throw a whopper plopper and where.
It's coming around now. Yep, because you were throwing a chrome super spook.
Yeah.
Or something like that later on the day. And you were getting hits.
But I was getting hits.
They weren't committing to
it.
Huh. Yeah, see, this is all.
Yeah, we were fishing the shoals.
Yep.
We were fishing the shoals with top water. And you had caught. And I had you had caught the big fish. I had just figured out like literally 2 or 3 months ago where we were.
I remember we started at Mountain Creek. I know that.
Yeah.
We don't want to say we didn't even leave Mountain Creek.
We were deep into Mountain Creek.
Oh,
and I finally found the point that you were on when we caught the big one on. Yep. You had the bone 150 whopper plopper on.
The 130.
Or 130.
Yep,
yeah, 130. Yeah.
Now I do remember this exactly because it was colder that day. We got back up there and it was muddy or muddier. And we come across this point. I was like, dude, this thing sets up right.
Yeah.
And I threw across it. And it was like 3.5 maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go
and it was citation spot.
Oh, yeah. Citation spot. By the way, citation spot, a little bit bigger than 3 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. If you didn't know, apparently I just found this out. Citation spots in North Carolina have to be above like 2.5 pounds, which is not that impressive.
That's weird that we were just talking about that. And this first citation spot I probably ever caught was with you.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Huh. But yeah, and then you started teaching me about the shoal and topwater shoal bites. And so yeah, I love topwater because that was like something we did for striper. So I'm like,
oh yeah,
I can do this.
Yeah. And Lake Norman sets up for one of those lakes that, you know, you can almost do it year round.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those. I love it for that. The buzzbait, the whopper plopper. You know, the whopper plopper I wouldn't say originated here, but a lot of people, because I was working at Bass Pro Shops at the time when we got them.
Yeah.
And they were selling out like crazy. And everybody was going to Norman with them. And I remember buying my first couple ones and taking them up to Norman and throwing them across the shoals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they just flat out worked. And you never thought that 130, being as big as it was, you're like, nah, I ain't going to eat this thing. And sure enough, they ate it.
Lewis would argue that. Lewis likes the little tiny one. I hate the little tiny El Chapo one.
There's been days where I've caught. There was one day I fished a tournament with a buddy of mine out there, and the waves were so bad. The wind was so bad out there. We had waves coming over the back of the boat.
Okay.
They wouldn't hit a 130. They'd eat a 90.
Really?
It was weird. I couldn't explain it. I don't know if it was just the right bait size or the right pitch or whatever it was, but they were all over that.
Yeah, it's probably because it was a higher pitch, so they could hear it a little bit better over the waves.
It was. I would have never expected that. So.
But yeah, that was like, and now I throw whopper plopper pretty religiously now.
Me too. Yep. Yep. If you find my boat, or if you get in my boat and you don't find one, something ain't right.
Let's see.
Because it's
People now know where I have that problem.
Yep.
It's this guy.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Heck, want to turn my Mountain Island with the whopper plopper. So.
All right. You can win some money off that bait. I mean, it's getting more and more popular. Or of course, it's been popular, but
it's still not super popular in Florida. And it was funny we were talking about a muddier point. I was fishing with Amron actually down in Florida with a guide that he had known for a little while, and we were fishing Butler. And we came up. It was getting into pre-spawn. We were down there early March, but it was that colder winter last year, and we came across a point, and I'm like, this is perfect for whopper plopper. Like it had that nice slow slope in, a little bit of dirty water. I was like, it's going to go down. I start tying one on. I tied on the 130.
Yep.
And both the guide and Amron are like, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, trust me. And they're like, that is never going to work. And then fourth or fifth cast in, I hooked the biggest bass of the day, and unfortunately came off. I didn't hook him very well. I think he short striked it. And,
so it was the biggest bass of the day.
Yeah.
Know how that goes.
He came up, and it was just it was tough. It was tough. But I was like, see, I told you so. I'm like the perfect spot for it, and I knew it.
Yep. I mean, it's amazing how you can almost call your shots with that bait. I mean, there's a lot of instances where I can go to lakes, really anywhere around here, and if it sets up the same way, the sloping points, the wind blowing, of course, you got to have some wind on it. I don't think there's many days where I've caught fish on whopper plopper where it's not windy. But you can almost call your shots very often.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I love that bait.
Yeah, I got spots now in various lakes around here where it's the whopper plopper spot.
Yep, the whopper plopper spot. That's a mouthful.
You go there for the whop. But yeah, that was my first tournament, and
I'm glad we could sit here and talk about it because I had totally forgotten. About most of it.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah. That was a fun day. I think it was a frustrating day because we figured it out a little too late.
Yeah, we figured out the shoal topwater bite thing like within like the last hour to go or something.
And we had a lot of fish hit it but wouldn't commit. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah. I was still on the Livingston spook. That's what it was.
That's right. Yeah.
Because at that point, Xander was like really pushing Livingston.
Yep.
It's like, we got to use Livingston everything. And I think I was probably the only one that was actually using Livingston on the entire team.
Yeah. I had a few of their stuff, but not too much. I remember that was the year that we had all that conference call and everything with them and got it all set up on the team. That was pretty cool. Yeah. The way Nick Barr at the time went through, working with us with the team and everything. That was a cool deal. So,
I thought he was pretty cool. I liked working with him. And, I don't think we've ever had a sponsor do that again, so.
It goes to show, who's going to put the time in, how they're going to do it. Because I remember it was like it was probably 9 o'clock at night we had that conference call. Yeah. In the bottom of, what is it?
Fretwell. Yeah. Well, I don't worry. We still have all our meetings down there.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good building to do
We still do it the same way that I remember us doing it when Xander was there, where we go in. We don't reserve a room. Yeah. We just go in and open doors and say, there's no one in there. We're going in there. Yeah, we still do it the same way since you left. And but yeah, that's right. I was probably the only one using Livingston, which I felt bad. I like I said, I grew up racing, and it was like sponsors were like the only way you could race was to have sponsors, and you always treated your sponsors right, and you never and I brought that into the bass team. I'm like, well, we got sponsors. I'm going to use them.
It only makes sense. I mean, they're giving you an opportunity, to get stuff at, a lower cost. It makes sense for a college kid, especially. Yeah. We're trying to cut costs everywhere to be able to afford fuel and food and everything for traveling on the road. And that was back before we got any help from the school. So
yeah,
any cost you could.
We get a lot more help from the school, I think, now since you.
Yeah, ever since I left.
Since you left.
Yeah, but it's all right.
But yeah, what else you got for stories? You gotta hit me with a good college story.
Good college story. I'd talk about the national championship, but that might be a little overwritten or a little too much for this podcast. So I'll go back to a Norman story, of course. I'll tell you the national championship story another time. But Norman, it was, let's see, I started fishing with Tyler, my buddy Tyler Spainhour. Mm-hmm. So it was 2016 going on 2017. First tournament he and I ever fished together. It was kind of the same deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was the first tournament I ever fished with a new co-angler. Was a little skeptical of what's going to happen. Sorry, Tyler. But it planned out to be really good. You know, it was that morning. It was really windy when we pulled up to the boat ramp. And I remember Xander was going around with a live video because, you know, he used to do live videos first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
He was going around with live video. He walked up to me. He was like, "So what are you going to be doing today?" And I said, "It's windy. I'm going to be cranking." And so we took off that morning, ran up, fished a few of my boat ramps that I had, and we caught a limit pretty quick. A limit of good fish, good sized spots. And then we pulled up in the state park. Well, it was one of those areas that I love. I love the state park area. And we got up there on a windblown bank, and they were schooling on fish up there in 25 foot of water. It was like a bluff-style bank. If you know state park, you know where I'm talking about. And we pulled up there and started catching them on A-rig, spinnerbait, you name it. You threw it down there, you catch them. I hooked a big hybrid back there, too.
Did you?
Yeah. One of the first hybrids I ever hooked back there, but he come off of the boat. And it got to be about, I think weigh-in was like 3 o'clock. It got to be about 2:30, and we were coming out of State Park on the trolling motor, fishing that same area, and all of a sudden my power trim started going up, just out of the blue. I was like, is my cord hitting the switch? What's going on? So I started checking all these things, and it kept going. So I jumped down the driver's seat and started, like, you know, pressing the button on the throttle to get it to go back down, and I would stop it, but it would still start running. I was like, well, this is not good.
Yeah.
I was like, this is... So I told Tyler, I was like, hey, grab the trolling motor, throw your stuff down. We're going to try and get out of here, get as far as we can before the prop comes out of the water, because I kept fighting it. And it got to the point where I burned the tilt, I can't even think of the name of it. I burned
the trim solenoid or whatever
everything. The whole power trim unit burned up, and it was smoking. And I was like, this is not good. So I called my buddy Cameron, and I said, where are you at? And it was one of those things that just, it was meant to be, because we had a pretty good bag for normal. I think it ended up being like 13 pounds or close to 13 pounds. And I called him. I was like, where you at? He's like, I'm just outside of State Park. I was like, there ain't no way. He's
Perfect.
like, yeah. I was like, all right, run back here. I need you to get me. I got a problem. And so he comes back in there. He's like, what's the deal? I'm like, my power trims burn up. There ain't no way I'm going to make it back in time. I said, take Tyler and my bag of fish, and y'all go weigh in, and I'll just figure out how to get there. And at this point, it was sitting, I lifted open the battery compartment, and it was, you know, you could smell, like, burnt whatever wires, whatever it may be, coming out of there. And I was like, this is really not good. And I didn't have a wrench to get the nut off the battery so that I could turn the power trim off and everything and just let it chill.
Yeah.
So he took off. Before he took off, I was like, what are my chances of catching on fire? He looked at me, he was like, they're there. And I was like, sweet.
Yeah,
it's like, I'll have to ditch this boat somewhere. But thankfully, we never caught on fire. It took me about 45 minutes to an hour to idle all the way back to, I think it was Queens that day. And that was just a nightmare. Yeah. I remember idling back, and people were running past me, like, waving, like, you good? I was like, yeah, I'm good. There ain't nothing to do. And Tyler texted me. He was like, we won. I was like, cool. I was like, but I don't know how we're going to get this fixed, because I had to drive back to Greensboro that night. I was like, I don't know what's going to go on. So we go back. Thankfully, Cameron just stayed around. You know, he's a mechanical genius, and he's able to figure things out. So we ended up making multiple Lowe's runs, and finally we got it to where I had to strap the motor pretty much to the back of the boat so it wouldn't move. And probably looked super redneck riding down the highway with these monster straps on it, but that was...
Do what you got to do.
Definitely did what we had to do, and that was just one of those stories where it was a good day of fishing, turned bad, turned good.
Yeah.
And it was one of those days where you can't get spun out. You gotta realize, you know, there's other things going on. Worse things could have happened, and, you know, as long as somebody was there to take my buddy Tyler to the ramp and weigh our fish in, you know, it all works out. And that's the way it happens in the college tournaments. If you can get your fish in another boat and get back there, you can weigh them in.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, mechanical problems happen, and you just gotta keep going. As long as the boat's floating. That's all I used to say. As long as the boat's floating,
when the boat starts to not float, you can worry a little bit more.
I was actually telling Lewis a story last time I was at Toledo Bend. Going back to another first time I boat captained a big tournament was Toledo Bend.
Yeah.
What a terrible place to captain your first boat tournament. And the dude I was down there with, Marshall, he had experience, but it's kind of like me. He just kind of fooled around with bass fishing and didn't do too much.
Yeah.
So we both really had no clue what we were doing. And ended up zeroing the whole week. But during practice, Toledo is so big. If you get like a wind blowing down the lake, you get like 4 to 5 footers.
Oh yeah.
And luckily, I knew how to run stuff like that because of boating in the ocean and dealing with waves there. But I did spear a wave there.
Oh yeah.
Like went straight through it, submarine
I
right
bet that
through
was
it.
a good time.
Right in the
Soaking
middle,
wet.
literally dead smack in the middle of the lake. And the lake's so big you can't see the other side at some points.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
Yeah. And I'm like, and Marshall was freaking out, and I was kind of like giggling. He's like, why are you giggling? And I'm like, it's pretty funny. He's like, we're sinking. And I'm like, no, the bilge is on. The water's only like halfway up the boat. We're still floating. That's
Exactly.
literally what I said. We're still floating, so we're good.
I mean, the motor's still running. We're all right. Yeah.
We'll get back eventually, and it did take us a long time to run back.
Yep. I remember another Norman tournament. We were in Cameron's 21-foot Ranger, and you think you're invincible on a boat like that. 21-foot Ranger, you got a lot of room to move.
Yeah.
It's a big boat. It's going to jump crest to crest in waves and stuff like that. In some waves. And we launched, it was a cat trail tournament. We launched out of Pinnacle. We ran all the way down to Governors, which is not very far. But as you come out of Governors there to the main lake, like you're going to go down to Blythe, the wind was blowing straight out of there.
Oh, yeah, it can get nasty right there.
It got nasty.
Yeah.
And we ran all the way down to Blythe, got soaked in the process, fished for 15 minutes, and we were like, oh, we're running back. So we beat ourselves up. And I got videos of it. I sent him a video of it the other day. And I was like, you remember this? This was sketchy. I mean, but it was funny because we were beating ourselves up so bad, but I could not stop laughing. It was funny for some reason. And I don't know what that is. Whenever you get in a situation like that where you're either getting super wet, you're taking waves over the bow of the boat, whatever it is, it's funny.
Yeah, people have two reactions. They're either like, this is the worst thing in the world, or they're laughing. It was me and Marshall were always the opposite, because it was the same thing at Kerr.
Yeah.
When we fished the state championship. One of the days in practice, the wind was blowing down the lake. It got super nasty. I remember we were like running parallel with Xander.
Yep.
And I watched Xander in his like 20-foot boat spear a wave, and I'm in the 17-foot boat, just kind of like dude,
oh crap,
just hopping over him.
Yeah.
But I did end up spearing one at one point, and it kind of like speared it like to the side, and I ducked down. I have one console. I ducked down below the console, and the wave literally went over me and then just landed on Marshall.
Oh my goodness.
I literally didn't get a drop of water on me, and it looked like he went for a swim.
Has he ever fished with you again?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, good.
But I was like, he almost killed me. He was like, it was like cold.
Oh yeah.
And he was like hyperventilating, and I was laughing. And he's like, why are you laughing? I go, because I don't have a drop of water on me. And it looked like he just went for a swim. And he was ready to kill me.
Oh, that's a pain in the butt. I hate those tournaments when it's just blowing as hard as it can, and and you got a wide open lake like that. It's just not fun.
Oh, it's not fun. But yeah, I feel like that's most of our tournaments. So we have crap weather.
Yeah.
Like college tournaments, it doesn't matter where you are. You always end up with crap weather. It doesn't matter.
Well, practice is always good.
Oh, practice is gorgeous.
But that goes for any tournament. Practice is gorgeous. First tournament day sucks.
Oh,
so
every time.
I feel bad for Lewis right now. It's, what do you say, 45 and
45 and raining in Toledo for the last day of practice.
It's not too bad.
That was like our second day. The day we speared the wave, it was like on and off rain, 45-degree weather.
So I'm assuming the weather for tomorrow out there is going to be cold.
Yeah, cold front
And
rolling
probably
through.
sunny. And everybody's going to hate it.
Just like fishing. Fishing bass love that.
Nothing wrong
Nice
with that.
cold
Oh,
front.
yeah.
Those southern bass, they love cold.
Catch you a mega sack tomorrow for sure.
Someone will catch them.
Yeah.
In fact, my prediction for the tournament was someone was going to have like, what did I say, 72 pounds.
Good
3
gosh.
day.
3 days, 72?
So that was my prediction. Lewis said 60, 63, 64, I think was his prediction.
I'm going to lowball it and say 45.
You're going to lowball it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they'll have a little bit more than that. There's some giants.
Well,
in
I'm
there.
thinking it's 3 day. 45, 50.
The last time we were down there, they didn't fish day 3 because of a fog delay. So when you look at the
dang.
results, they're a little skewed because it's only a 2-day tournament.
You talk about a story in a fog delay. Did you fish James River? No, I guess you did in 2016.
No.
They had a fog delay. I think it was day 2 because I was first flight on day 1, and my buddy from UNCG was first flight on day 2. We had a fog delay for like 30 minutes, and it cleared up around the ramp there at Osborne, and they let first flight go, And my buddy texted me like 10 minutes later. He's like, watch out, barge coming up the river. You can't see it. And I'm like, what? And so we get down there, and I was fishing those oxbows off the left side of the river going down. And I pull in the first one, and that barge is literally just around the corner. Never saw it. Never saw anything. But you could hear him. You could hear that foghorn going off. I was like, dude, these guys are running down here at, 60, 70 miles an hour. You can't see this guy. That's sketchy.
Yeah. Well, that's like I said, that's kind of like the weird thing for me is because up north, when you run in the ocean, June into the beginning of July, every morning is fog.
Just thick fog.
Thick fog. But we all have, if you're running, a majority of boats were on, you can radar ping boats. So you'll know where all the boats are.
Yeah, that's nice. But not everybody has a radar.
Not everyone has that. I mean, I'd say like 3/4 of the boats.
Well, yeah, maybe
ocean boats have them.
Yeah.
Because we run fog so much.
Yeah.
And, but there have been times, I always like to tell a story. A lot of times I boat with people that have been boating for like 30, 40 years. And where I live, the marina that I used to go out to, there was a seawall. There was like a kind of like a sanctuary cove that you could pull in there in bad storm.
Yeah.
And it'd be like a rock wall coming off the left, rock wall coming off the right, and then there was a center rock wall with 2 entrances.
Oh.
And we were running out there, thick fog. You could see like 3 feet. And but it's fine if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
Well, this boat must not have had 1 GPS nav at all, and 2 wasn't pinging anyone. Because we're watching them. Like, we could, like, see them slightly through the fog. You could see the red and green lights going across. And we're watching them, and we're like, he's heading for those rocks.
Oh, no.
And didn't show any sign of slowing down. We're, like, watching them. On the horn, like, trying to get them to stop, and we're watching. And before we even hit the rocks, we sent out a Coast Guard signal. We're like, yeah, this guy's in the rocks.
Yeah, for real. Go ahead.
Hadn't even hit it yet.
Send everybody you got. He hit the rocks. Did you see that video the other day? I don't know if it was Barstool or Qualified Captains. They probably call it Qualified Captains, but they posted that video of that sailboat ran straight across that rock jetty. I think it was probably down in Florida somewhere. But they were not stopping. There was nothing on, no signs, but you could see it. It was real slick, calm. It was just under the surface of water, but you could see the rocks. And they ran smack into that
Smack into it.
I'm like, how do people do that?
Hate to see it.
I'd rather you do it when it was foggy than it was bright bluebird days. But either way, you're going to end up unqualified captain no matter what. So.
Yeah, see, if that day was like sunny or anything, he would see it because that rock wall comes up. I mean, we fish off of it.
Did you go over there and help him afterwards?
No.
Oh, come on.
No, we just, I mean.
Oh, man, bizbait's down.
We're losing signs. The Coast Guard house is like literally in the sanctuary. So they were less than a quarter mile from
that's
it.
good.
So
at least somebody could.
We actually passed them on the way out.
Yeah, we called it in. So.
They called, yeah, we were, yeah, that was us still over there.
Well, dang. God.
But yeah, you gotta love fog, and yeah, it does seem to be a trend with college tournaments where it's just fog. When we were at Toledo, we had a fog delay. The first day, it was like an hour and a half.
It's typical. Fog is everywhere.
And that was a place where you have to run the boat lanes, so they weren't letting us go at all until the fog was clear.
Well, that's good on their
part. You gotta be able to see the red and green buoys.
I've seen a lot of bad stuff come from that lake. So
yeah, oh yeah, the game warden when we did the meeting, the game warden was like, "Yeah, you all be careful because I sank my boat out here 3 weeks ago." And we were like, "Oh, cool."
If the game warden's
aren't you the game warden?
A really good chance. Dang.
But that wasn't the worst tournament I fished. I don't know what your worst college fishing story was, but I fished a tournament at Pickwick with Tyler and Chris, and the current from it was a river. Current was going down, wind was going the opposite direction, and I think during that tournament, the first day I passed 3 or 4 boats that cracked the outboard motor off the back of the boat.
Okay.
And it either had it completely strapped or it was completely gone.
The only thing that's ever been the worst was that power trim and then weather. I fished the national championship in 2016 at Green River Lake, and it rained cats and dogs. A Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
You know how he talked about how hard it was raining?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was that bad for like 3 days straight. And, of course, day 3, the day we didn't qualify for, it was sunny. And I was like, go figure. But, I mean, I've never seen rain like that. I've never seen lightning like that. We pulled off. It was practice one day, and the storm was coming, and we had this little app on our phone that showed you lightning bolts.
Yeah.
And I've never seen so many in my life.
It was just
We
like
pulled up
lit
under the dock, and
little-
we're sitting out there, and there's guys still fishing. You know, there's diehard college anglers that
don't have
may not realize the
may
dangers.
may not be too smart.
And there was guys still fishing out there, and there were bolts of lightning coming down so close. I don't think I've ever seen bolts of lightning that close. And Cameron and I were just like, dude, this is sketchy. So, no, I've never had any. Other than James River, they did flip one bass boat in the river running. I think it was a team ECU team. Flipped a 20-foot Ranger coming through because there was a some kind of industrial plant on the side of the river, and they had a big seawall, and they had current coming out of it, and then the boat wake was meeting in between.
Yeah.
And I think they hit it just too fast and at the wrong angle. So there's always that chance.
Pickwick was interesting. That was the biggest waves I've seen on fresh water, I think.
Is Pickwick wide open? I've never been.
No, it's very narrow. It's a river. I mean, it's a legit river. And
right.
like I said, you get the current going one way, the wind going the opposite way.
Just crazy.
And I hit a wave the second day of practice right before the tournament, and it ripped everything but the trolling motor off the front of my boat, like lights, everything. I had like the LED stripping like lights, ripped those off, ripped the like actual like light out of the socket.
Nope.
Yeah. I mean, it ripped the, I had like a rubber mat like right at the nose of the boat, ripped that off. Oh, yeah.
Good grief, son. I think the only thing you might be able to, or I might be able to say that it was similar to that is running out of the Oregon Inlet. You know, going cobia fishing.
Yeah.
Whenever that tide's going out or the wind's blowing in. Ooh, that's sketchy. That's the only time I think I've ever really been like, this is not good. He's running out of the Oregon Inlet. And I'm with a captain who's been doing it since he was like
Yeah, see,
10.
now I completely feel like it's weird. I've been out like in Alaska in like 12-foot seas.
Yeah.
And to me, running big waves in the ocean in an ocean boat is not as sketchy as running 3-footers in the bass boat in some areas.
It's weird. You're like...
Because the bass boats, you know, it's like a splinter.
Yeah, exactly. It's only going to take so much.
Yeah. They're truly designed for being on flat water, and it's like you put them in waves. And that was like the one... Toledo was the first place I'd encountered big waves in a bass boat.
Yeah.
And I was running it, and I'm like... This thing runs waves like crap. These things would be nothing in a center console.
Yeah, for real. Like, off topic a little bit, but cobia fishing, my first ever cobia trip, I was on the tower with the captain, and we had a storm off the coast, way off the coast, but it was pushing a big swell in.
Yeah.
I remember you go up a wave and you come down it, and you'd be looking like dead at the top of the next wave.
Yeah.
That's a big wave. And you're like, oh, crap. I'm on the tower, too. But we still catching cobia, so it didn't really matter.
It's weird how that happens, isn't it?
You're like, whatever, you know, we could take a wave and flip for all I care, but as long as I'm catching cobia, right? But yeah, I think that's the biggest waves I've ever been in. But for a bass boat, if it's blowing that much, there's a chance I'm not going.
Oh, yeah.
It's
kind of weird how it works with saltwater fish like that. Like some of the best like false albacore fishing I've done.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it from shore, but we'll have like storms off the coast and it'll be like 10-footers.
Oh, yeah.
Like complete chop.
Yeah, you can't see anything.
You can't see anything, and every once in a while you just see them busting like on the crest of a wave, and you just aim for the wave.
Yep.
You're like, they're in there.
Hope it makes it there. Yes. Been there.
Anyways, so we're gonna call Lewis up, and we're gonna get his take on Toledo Bend. You know, he's just finishing up practice. He's gonna probably tell us what he thinks now the weights will be. So I'm curious to see what he says.
Yeah, I'm curious too.
Yeah, we're gonna get that set up, and then we'll be right back.
Heck yeah.
I got Lewis on the phone with me, and he's down at Toledo Bend right now, having fun in the waves and the rain and all that fun stuff.
Not today, I'm not.
Come on, you didn't want to go out there?
Hell no.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I think I went out in that when I was fishing, so I'm a little disappointed in you not going out.
Yeah, but I caught some fish already.
Yeah, at that point I had nothing.
So was it I've already figured out something and I don't need to go day?
Not really. We were talking about it the other day. We saw the weather and we saw, at least I ain't gonna lie. I didn't know how much homework I had until this morning, and now that I know, it was definitely a wise decision for me to stay back didn't want to go out in a half day, and then come back from the meeting at 7 o'clock, eat, and do all my homework in 4 hours.
Yeah.
So,
Smart man.
Yeah, he's doing
before-
the proper college thing. I don't think many people do that. So
I left all my homework at home.
You know, if I didn't have I mean, I don't want to say I have anything really figured out, but if I didn't think I could catch fish, I would probably be out there. But I think I can at least weigh something in with what I've got. So
yeah, you can't do what I did, and that was not catch a single fish, because then that's just bad.
I should be able to catch a fish. I don't know if I'll be able to catch 5. It's definitely tough. I'm hearing from a lot of people that, I mean, I don't know. I've been saying this all week, and it's that I want to say things are tough. In the first 2 days I was here, I caught 1 fish. I had like 3 bites. So I wanted to say it was tough, but I kept thinking that somebody out there, if not a lot of people out there, have it figured out and are catching them. But I've talked to some people, and it seems like less people than I thought are catching them. So I don't know. You know, guys are going to come in with fish and big ones. It's just I don't know how many are going to. I can tell you that I don't think I'm going to be one of those guys. But
All right, so we were talking about weights and predicting what the winning weights would be. Are you going to adjust your winning weight prediction?
I'm not. I still think it'll be around 60. Like I said, I think the top 3 to 5 guys are going to have really good weights, but it's going to fall off fast. I think somebody who catches 23 will be able to back it up with 21, 22, maybe more. But I think somebody who catches, say, 16 ain't going to be able to back that up. That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So what are the weather conditions for the first 2 days?
So let me double check. I know tomorrow it's going to be warm and rainy. It's going to get up to about 60.
Okay.
And it's going to morning. And the wind's actually going to shift tomorrow. I want to say it's going to start out of the east and end the day out of the west, which I think kind of plays for me. I like that. Friday's going to be 16 sunny, and it's going to blow a little bit, but we're not going to have crazy winds. It's just going to rain in the morning tomorrow and then kind of burn off. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much it'll affect the fishing. It's gone from, since I've been here, it's gone from warm to 3 days of cold, and it's looking like it's going to be 3 or 4 days of warm. So it's kind of all over the place, which would lead me to believe that deep fish are going to be more dependable. But at the same time, I think unless you really found a good school of big ones, I think that for me, if I catch a big one, it's not going to come out of deep water. If I have 5, I'm going to gamble shallow and look for a big one.
What's water temp?
Water temp is about, I think if you go way north, it gets cold, and the bottom of the lake gets warmer. I've seen everywhere from 54 to 58.
Okay.
So,
that's about what it was when we were there, I think.
Yeah, I guess for here, that's about average wintertime temps. Obviously, where we're at in North Carolina, that would be ridiculously warm, and we'd all be really excited, but such is not the case.
You should have been with me last week on Jordan. It was 63.
Really?
Wow.
Caught him on a buzzbait up shallow.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, shit.
You're making me bummed out that my boat's broken down and I can't go fishing right now.
Well, my boat's broken too, so.
I think the bottom line is if you own a bass boat, it's broken.
Break out another 1,000.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't. That's one thing about this week. Andrew, you warned me a lot. A lot of other people warned me. I think with the lake level being down as it is, it actually makes the lake a little bit easier to run because all of the trees are, for the most part, out of the water.
Oh, so, yeah. I wish it was like that when we were there.
Yeah.
When we were there, they were just below the water.
Yeah, no. If you're going through a timber field, obviously you're seeing trees everywhere. But other than that, like when you're running the channels and the boat lanes and all that, you can pretty much see where it gets hairy. Obviously, there's got to be some ghostly ones that are hiding that I can't see that could take a lower unit with it. But for the most part, I can kind of see what I'm gonna run, and it's not terrible.
Yeah.
The other thing, and you can ask Chris and Noah, the other Charlotte guys that are down here. They came down here without a chip, and I could say that's huge. Is having a map chip.
They don't have a map chip?
No, and it's really key to see.
Not even just one Navionics chip?
No, not for here. I guess he has the Eastern one, which is the same one I have. I had to borrow one for this trip from my buddy Ben.
It's like the first thing I'd do is buy a chip for that lake or that region.
Exactly. It's definitely. I could see I'd be really hairy without one. I'm happy I got one. You can. It's. A lot of them are off. Like some of them are off by, I guess, a couple hundred yards. I don't know if it changes year to year if they replace them, but you do at least get an idea when you have the chip.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So it's pretty important. To qualify, something's talking on my computer. To qualify, I think it's going to be like around between 12 and 14. I can't see it being much more than 14.
How many boats do they take now?
250.
250. Yeah,
but
still the 250.
To qualify, do they?
Oh, they take the top 10, right?
That'd be 25.
25.
Oh yeah, qualify. I thought you meant go for day 3.
Oh, day 3. Yeah.
Day three, I think would be about 15, 16.
Oh, so they upped it a little bit.
You're going to see a lot of guys in between, I would say. But I think it's going to be like this. I think it's going to be a group of guys from, say, I don't know, 35 to 42 pounds. Then you see a group of guys, and then it's going to fall off. You'll see another group of guys from about 27 to 32, and then it's just bad. I wouldn't be surprised to see a good number of guys with 1 to 2 fish, and possibly myself included. I don't know what I've got, but
you should be better,
It's definitely tough. From what I've heard, at least, and what I've seen, I thought I was just bad and didn't know what was going on and was so off the ball. But apparently, its bites are hard to come by. So a lot of guys are struggling.
Don't listen to the doc talk.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one of the biggest things I learned in college was do not listen to the doc talk.
Yeah, you get that right.
It's hard not to.
Yeah. From what I've seen personally, it's going to be rough. I will be weighing in spotted bass. If I don't weigh in a spotted bass, some magic has happened. I'll tell you that. I'm going to need me a 13-inch spotted
Goes
bass.
to Toledo Bend to catch largemouth, catch spots.
Yeah.
Should have just stayed up here on Norman.
Norman bag. Without a doubt.
Get that good 13-pound spotted bass bag.
No, hell no. If I weigh in a good bag, which I'll consider anything over 12 a solid bag, right now. I don't know. I mean, who knows tomorrow? But that would be my judgment of a good bag, or not a good bag, but a solid one. If I weigh in more than 12 pounds, it's going to be 8 pounds of spots and a 5-pound largemouth. It's going to be a damn Norman
So
bag.
it's a Norman bag. It's a true Norman bag.
It's a Norman winter bag.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I think there's probably guys that'll catch that in 4 fish that are fishing for largemouth. I'm going to be fishing for deep spots and hoping that there's a largemouth mixed in there. That's where I'm at. But I know I can catch spots, so there's that.
Well, we wish you luck, and obviously when this airs, it'll be day 2. So
yeah,
hopefully you're catching them.
I'm either going to be proven terribly wrong by the time this airs, or hopefully I'm right.
Hopefully you're right.
Yeah, aim for being right. I like that.
hopefully, you know what? No, hopefully I'm wrong about me catching 1 or 2 fish a day, and hopefully I'm right about the fact that it's only going to take 14 to qualify.
I'm still, I think it would be hilarious. If you catch I think it's over a 10-pounder, they give you a free mount.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, if you catch a 10-pounder, double digits bass, they give you it's like the Toledo Lunkers Club, and you get a mount of it. I want you to catch a fish that can be mounted on a Ned rig.
I wouldn't mind that, and I can't even promise you that I'll be throwing Ned rig, but maybe just because you said that, I will.
We did lose some wall decor on the set, so that mount would do good.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, our Biz Bait sign kind of fell during the middle of the episode, but
That's tragic.
yeah. Well, it turns out I got crap tape. What can I say?
Well, hey, before I hang up, I will let you know that the possibility. Oh, dude, oh wow, this phone call has done wonders. I just had an idea of something I should throw. Anyways, this tournament for me, I will be throwing a Dizzy Diamond. So plug to Biz Bait. That will be something I utilize this week.
Well, of course, I love the Dizzy Diamond, so I'm glad you're throwing it.
Yeah.
I wish you had some of the Magnums. Do you have any of the Magnum Dizzies in there? The Mag Dizzies?
I didn't. I won't. I wouldn't throw one if I did.
Oh, really? So you're really going finesse then with the normal ones.
That's how I do things.
Yeah,
Well,
I shouldn't say I'm surprised.
Elephants eat peanuts.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, all right, I'll let you guys go.
Well, good luck, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and hopefully next week we'll be able to provide a good recap, and hopefully I'm going wherever they're going in the summer.
All right. We wish you luck. Good luck, man.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Take care.
Well, see, I'm surprised that he still thinks it's going to be. If he says it's, from what I've heard from him, it was like, yeah, the fishing's not that good.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was for sure going to say he was going to say that winning weight was going to be in the 50s.
I'm still sticking to my 45 to 50.
50.
Yeah, from what I understand from him, but I ain't never been out there.
We have cookout dinner on this, so
Cookout dinner
if you want in on the bet, you can win cookout dinner.
Seeing as though I live like an hour and a half away,
Yeah, I know.
I'm in. Because cookout is life.
So, all right, guys. Well, we appreciate you turning in, and we'll be back next week. I'd like to thank Sam for coming on.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it.
Good talking stories with you, and
always.
Actually, I was dying to tell that original bass fishing story.
Well, I'm glad that I was the first boater you ever rode with, and that we actually caught fish.
Yeah.
That was always a worry of mine, is to get out there and never catch anything.
Oh yeah, trust me. I've had some backboaters that I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna think I'm terrible.
Oh yeah.
So we catch one bass, and I was like, well,
that's college fishing for you.
This is what it is.
Yep. But I'd come back in a heartbeat if I could. So.
We'd be happy to have you back. Do a grad program or something.
30-year-old fishing. I mean, it happens. So.
Yeah, it happens. Come on now.
Maybe one day.
And, like I said, we appreciate you guys listening. As always, like, share, and tight lines. We'll see you next week.
See you.